intuitive. Like, we're not trying to recruit anybody. I have nothing to sell you. It's free to come here. The most we've ever charged is $10, and it went to charity, and we're not like we're not affiliated with a brokerage, with a board, with the side of town. We just want to recognize the top agents in the community. And so we started this thing 82 sessions ago, and what's been amazing is the response from the real estate community, so give yourselves a round of applause for being here, but also just the number of top agents that were willing to share. I mean, we've had hundreds of agents from all different brokerages come and just like reveal their whole playbook if asked. And obviously, we only have an hour, so they can't tell you everything, but we've had so many people share openly the answers to whatever questions agents had, and they weren't worried about brokerages or competition or sides of town or any of that. So we believe that over the last 82 sessions, we think we've at least slightly moved the needle from what we say is ultra-competitive to hyper-collaborative. And that's really the point of being here today, is to connect with and collaborate with the best of the best in Central Florida real estate. So one more time, just give yourselves a round of applause for showing up today. So a bunch of people asked us, like, where are you going? Like, Real Producers isn't going anywhere, but Masterclass is. We're going to roll out a completely different program, a completely different format, a completely different frequency. It won't be every single month, or at least it won't be the same event every month. So we have all different things in store, and you guys will have to tune in to see what we're doing. And I'll be transparent, a lot of these events are going to be invite only. So if you want to make sure that you're still getting invited, reach out to us, hit us up on social, like send us an email, send us a message. Make sure you keep your eye on all the stuff we're doing, because we're moving to places that oftentimes will have limited seating in an intimate setting, like a Black Box Theater or a few other places that are on the radar. So y'all excited to see what Masterclass becomes? If you are, make some noise. All right, so we have about 90 advertising partners that sponsor Real Producers, and they help us recognize and print a magazine and host events for the top agents in the city. And a bunch of them stepped up extra today to make this happen here, because transparently, otherwise, we probably wouldn't be interviewing the top agents and teaching everyone else. We'd just be throwing the parties. So let's make sure that they only get a minute to speak to you, because there's a lot of them, and I don't want to take your whole day. But can you guys make sure that if you learn anything today, that you reach out to one of these people or two of these people, make sure you follow them, shout them out, meet them if you don't know them, visit their tables, stuff like that, so that they get value and they keep sponsoring, so we can keep doing, not Masterclass, but something like it for you guys. Could y'all agree to that? Sorry, that was convoluted, but I know you guys understood. So anyway, I'm going to bring them all up. Let's just bring them all up, and let's give them all a giant round of applause. I'm going to let them all take a minute. By the way, I was asked by Dominic to give him a high chair, but we didn't have 5, so we're going to try the cluster today. It's never been done before at Masterclass, and we'll see how the interview cluster works. But Danielle, you can go ahead and kick us off.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. My name is Daniela. I'm with Fusion Home Loans. At Fusion Home Loans, we're not just lenders. We're your growth partners. We invest in your success with the right tools, resources, and personalized strategies so that you can focus on what really matters, which is really closing deals and, serving your clients. And here's the thing, we're direct lenders and mortgage bankers, which means there's no middleman slowing things down. We take care of all underwriting with our own loans, no overlays, so your deals move fast and smooth from start to finish. From branding to marketing, which is kind of what I do, to execution operations, we handle the heavy lifting behind the scenes so that you scale faster and earn more business with more long-term success. Plus, just a little, we speak English, Spanish, and Portuguese, so we serve more clients in your community. With Fusion, you don't just get a lender, you get a partner in growth. We're happy to meet you. We're in the back, and we're all in orange.
Love it. All right, hey, I'll take it.
Good morning, everyone. Kurt Kramer with Sorensen Moving. We're a Mayflower van line agent, so we're one of the big boy moving companies. I handle all things on the residential side of the business, and I handle, in person anyway, everything in Central Florida. I can certainly get your clients from any state into Florida. We have partners all over the country. We specialize in all things residential, decluttering, local moves, interstate moves, and even international moves. I'm in the corner. If you want to hear more about the services, please come say hi to me.
Hello and good morning. I'm Mike with Central Florida Building Inspectors. We serve coast to coast from Ocala all the way down to Sarasota, Flagler, all the way down to Melbourne. We have 20 inspectors providing 5-star service to your clients, multiple bilingual inspectors, 1 trilingual, and 1 that speaks just enough Italian to get in trouble at a restaurant. So, This is November. So as an inspector, we can inspect a lot of things. We find a lot of different problems at home. The one thing we don't do, and definitely should never let your inspector do, is check you for your health, okay? So in the honor of Movember, remember, we're all here to give prostate cancer the finger. So let's do that. Gentlemen, go out and get yourself checked.
Good morning. My name is Jody Green. I am the Chief Sales Officer at Red Door Title. We are a locally owned and operated title company that is dedicated to seamless closing experiences throughout the state of Florida. So I'd like to take our moment today to say thank you to all of our clients and partners who have made 2025 an incredibly successful year. With this being last Masterclass ever, I'd like to do a toast. We have some champagne in the back if you'd like to join me. A toast to an incredible 2025. Thank you for the lessons and blessings. And cheers to 2026, filled with happy buyers, happy sellers, low interest rates, abundance, and prosperity.
Love it. Cheers.
Hey, good morning. Scott Fosgate with Atlantic Bay Mortgage Group. It's a pleasure to see all of y'all and be here today. I'm thankful for all of you for showing up and getting some gleaning some knowledge from these rock star agents. At Atlantic Bay, we're a direct lender, so we do underwrite, fund our own stuff, and we actually have our own in-house down payment assistance program. So on the affordability side for first-time buyers, there's no income limits, and you don't have to be a first-time buyer to qualify for it. So a little something different than the state and county programs. If people don't fall under qualifying for those, let me know if you have any questions about it, and have a great class. Thank y'all.
Awesome. Hey, people. Everybody awake? Everybody excited about the last class? Everybody give a round of applause to Aaron Luden. Let's do that. In the theme of November, it's thankfulness, right? So first and foremost, this is not going to be about me for the next however many seconds. It's going to be about you saying thank you. Because literally, we would not be in business without you. So I just wanted to extend that to every person in this room. I see a lot of familiar faces, but I do have a quick question. Who in here has actually utilized Pillar to Post, the Jeff Mackey team, as home inspectors anytime during 2025? Or heard of us? Raise your hand. Awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Lastly, I just wanted to mention we are continuing to offer free continuing education classes. I teach them throughout the year in different brokerages, so if you're ever interested in doing that. And in the meantime, I'm going to leave you with my theme and my one-liner. Because we are too blessed to be stressed. So say it after me. We're too blessed to be stressed. Just remember that going into November and December. All right, thanks, guys.
My name's Chris, Blue Haven Pools, here with my partner in crime, Juan. I want to let you guys know we are the largest by volume pool builder in the state of Florida. We don't just do new residential, we do renovations as well, and we've built over 25,000 pools since our LLC has been in existence since 2000. So you're looking for somebody you can trust to get in bed with and or just get renderings and see, hey, can we fit a pool here? Can you draft something up for a potential client? Or just to work direct with them, let us know. We'll be around mingling.
Awesome.
All right, give everybody a round of applause. If you got a mic, just drop it up. Whoops, hopefully I won't drop that. I got it, I think. We'll see. Probably should have done that earlier. I was like, what's that? I thought maybe we had an alarm going off or something. It's time. It's time to start. Y'all ready to learn something today? Make some noise if you are. All right, let's bring up our speakers. I'll start first with the guy who needs the least introduction. So we'll go with Ken Posick because he's been on our stage a lot of times, and I could probably do half his bio by heart, and I don't have it in front of me. So Ken Posick, I know he moved here in 2016, is it? Moved from Detroit in 2016. He was a mega agent in Detroit, Michigan. Knew nobody here in Orlando, which just really loves Disney World. And moved to Orlando, knew nobody, and that first year he was here, he sold $11 million, which was pretty badass because he generated, I don't know, $5-6 million in just like hitting the ground running, and then he went all around the state teaching at Keller Williams offices and building an agent database for referrals. So he markets to agents the same way that you guys market to your sphere, which is pretty amazing. And that transition to becoming a YouTube star and becoming a full-on media company that specializes in real estate. So I could give a whole long bio, but let's just put it this way. This year, his team's at over $400 million now. He's got how many people on the team now? 51 people on the team. And by the way, who won that Lions game last weekend? No, I'm just kidding. So let's give a giant round of applause to Mr. Ken Posick. If you're not following him on YouTube, make sure you start. It's funny because it was like, I don't know, 2019, Ken and I flew to Philly and went to the Eagles-Lions game. And man, we were a lot fatter at the time, though. He was a lot bigger. I'm similar size, but we both, between the two of us, we ate a lot of cheesesteaks, and we got our lives more in order. All right, let's keep going. That was a very interesting intro, right? I'll give you guys better intros, I promise. All right, Dominic Florio. He's with Remax Town and Country. This year he sold last year he sold 182 sales for $126 million. He now has a team of 21. Just launched the team a few years ago, though, right? Yep, 2 years. 2 years ago. Personal sales this year, over $37 million so far for the year, over $40 million sold last year. Has a business management background. Let's give a giant round of applause for Dominic Florio. Dominic, though, I might ask you to go on one of the outer high chairs because, yeah, just so they can fit in. Just so they can fit in there. I tried to make it work with the high ones for you. All right, Barrett Spray started in 1992. Last year, he sold over $45 million as a team. He has sold over 3,000 properties in Central Florida. Now has a team of 8. Last year was a team of 6 that sold the $45 million. He's been with KW Advantage for over 13 years. Was just on the cover of Orlando Real Producers. Let's give a giant round of applause to Barrett Spray. All right. Corey Smith is the team leader and owner of the Corey Smith Group. He's originally from South Carolina. He studied at the University of South Carolina, and he's worked in real estate for only 4 years. He and his team have achieved record-breaking results and unprecedented success for being only 4 years in the business. He entered the industry with over 15 years' experience and extensive background in corporate sales at leading hotels like Marriott and Hilton. He took those negotiation skills and comprehensive market expertise, brought it to the real estate world, built a team that now has over 40 agents, and they sold over 1,000 transactions over the last 3 years. They've sold more than 300 transactions in just the past 12 months and generated over $500 million in sales since their inception. Let's give a giant round of applause to Corey Smith. Brian Heiser sells $40 million no matter what happens, no matter what year. This wasn't his bio, but that's my bio for Brian. Every single year, it seems like no matter what happened in the market, no matter how many people change, Brian Heiser's in the top 25 or so, selling $40+ million. I think it's been at least 5 or 6 years straight. He's only been in the industry for how long, Brian?
8 years.
8 years. Used to be a chiropractor. He ran 5 chiropractic offices in Central Florida. And quick side note, we were at a MasterClass a few years ago, and I was limping, and Brian was like, that's not good. If you feel this, you need to go to the doctor. If you feel that, you're good. And later that day, I felt this, and Brian got me in for surgery in like a week and a half. And my doctor called me like 9 months later, like, hey, do you want to do that checkup? And I was like, oh, I had this done like 7 months ago. And so thank you, Brian, because I probably wouldn't be walking today. And I appreciate you. So let's give a giant round of applause to all 5 of our panelists that are sorry that you guys are squeezed in. But I think it's going to work, though, right? Is it high enough for you?
I'm comfortable.
You guys good? You guys good?
It's great.
All right, let's kick this thing right off. Before I ask my first question, I do want to get a few things from the audience, though, because we can ask them whatever we want, but I'm not a real estate agent, so what I want to ask probably doesn't really matter to anybody. Let's hear what you want to ask. So really quickly, I want to hear what you want to get out of this. I need like 2 or 3 answers from the audience before we kick this off. What do you want to learn today? What do you want to hear? What do you want to ask them? And if I don't ask something you wanted to hear, it's totally your fault. Because yeah, somebody tell me. What do you want to get out of this? Y'all came here for a reason. Yeah, go ahead.
There we go.
Yep.
I'm in.
What do you want to get out of it? No, yeah. Okay. No, you're good, bro. Go. Good.
We're all fishing in the same pond. Sure. Agree on that, right? What differentiates the haves and the have-nots, right? What's the greatest delineator between high producing and everybody else that goes home with no fish?
Love that. Man, you get. I got a different book for you, but here, you got the Social Media Millions, man. There you go. Somebody else over here. What do you want to get out of today? I know it's hard to go after that guy, but somebody here came for a reason? Yep, over there. How much AI are you using nowadays? We'll ask about AI. We're doing an AI summit next. I'll tell you that yet, but stay tuned. Yep, over here, Mary. What marketing idea has given you the best return on investment? Yep. Okay, so if I got this right, we got social media. I don't know why my mic just cut out, but I didn't sit on it. I told you. We'll fix it in a second. We got social media. We got what makes the difference. AI. We got AI, and we got another social media, basically, right? Lead gen. All right, let's start this thing. Let's go straight in. I want to hear about how you generate the majority of your leads. I just want to start with that. How do you generate the majority of your leads right now? And if anything's changed, how has that changed over the years? Like if you used to generate leads a different way, but you've pivoted. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing and why you're doing that. I'll start with you, Corey. Oh, my bad. I take it at the wrong time. I didn't know you didn't have one.
Hello, everybody. I'm Corey Smith, obviously. We're probably a little different business model than most. I'm a strong Zillow supporter, so we're one of the Zillow teams bigger Zillow teams in the area. So being new to the real estate industry, got to figure out how to feed your family, right? So a lot of people don't like Zillow. A lot of people don't like buying leads. I had to figure out how to eat first, right? So now, along with the rest of the guys that's been around a lot longer than me, organically we create a lot of business now, but we had to have a starting point. So any of those brokerages tell you not buying leads. If you don't have any food to eat, you better find somebody to talk to. So I'm all about the leads to get you started, right? You got to build that base first. That sphere of influence thing is a very tough way after you run out of your 3 friends.
Love it. Hey, can you guys try to cut that a little bit? Because this is going to blow right in the mics. Just don't make it too hot, though. But
yeah, I can feel that. That feels
yeah.
good.
It sometimes feels nice. It's sometimes terrible. The guys like it. The women hate it. It's like a weird, it's like a weird thing, right? The microphones don't like it, though. Brian, go ahead.
So I've been in real estate now for 8 years, and similar to Corey, I started very heavy in the Zillow game as well. I thought, because I didn't have a sphere, I didn't have a lot of friends, a lot of family here. I'm not from here. I'm from Chicago. I needed to really figure out, after I sold my chiropractic company, how am I going to get in front of as many people as possible? And randomly, I got a phone call from a Zillow rep that I thought I was one of the lucky ones they picked. Soon to realize that they called everybody and anybody. Spent some money, with them, and started kind of building, my sphere, that way. And then as the years went on, I realized that I didn't have to really focus so much on those cold leads. I can transition more into, warm leads, building those relationships I did, over the first 3 years. And now I'm, more focused on the referral business than anything. I'm still doing the Zillow leads. Don't get me wrong. We're still a flex team, but we're not relying on it as much anymore.
Love it. Dominic?
Yeah, so my story is similar to them. I started off at another brokerage where there was some opportunities there where I learned how to start growing a business, right? What I transitioned and pivoted out of was being stuck on the office leads, the office business, the office that, and I had a completely different mindset and a completely different business plan to where I wanted agents to grow and develop, right? So when it comes to, multiple sources and leads that are working, I think that all agents should be diversified. You guys should have leads coming in from every single direction. You should be focusing on, if you're on one of those teams like several of us run, one of the things I do is I focus on it being a filler, right? It shouldn't be your backbone. It shouldn't be your crutch. It should be something to where when you got some downtime and you've got some availability, you should be grabbing those leads, grabbing those office leads. But it's also, what are you doing with those office leads, right? You should be asking for your referrals 3 times throughout the process, contract, closing, 3 months after closing, and then every quarter or every 6 months when you follow up with those consumers. But I like to teach and coach on having it come in from different areas, right? My business changed when I actually pulled back and started investing in myself, right? Because when I put my own money up, my own dollar up, it made the biggest difference on the quality in which I was putting out. Now, I was a top producer running somebody else's business for 6 years in a row. And then now when my money's on the line, it was even better. So when I got offered my program, I was converting at 36%, and it's because my dollar meant something to me. When I put a dollar out, I felt that dollar going out every single month. So diversification for me across the board for lead generation is very, very important. I'm assuming most of you guys are single agents or even on team leads. I mean, team leads is the same thing. Like we're all talking about as our businesses have grown, it's kind of transitioned out of less of the lead volume stuff and more organic. But if you run well, first off, you got to run a business, right? So that's what it really comes down to is if you're closing transactions, you're not going to run a business. If you're building relationships, you're going to run a business, and the business is going to start flowing. And then you're going to get like where we are to where we got to a point where we couldn't field our businesses, right? To where we need the help. We need other agents to come in. We need somebody to take that on. So diversification for me and kind of what we run is really, really important. And I think that if you don't believe in yourself to be able to put your own money up, maybe you got to reanalyze your business and kind of see what your goals are and where you want to be in the next 5 years and maybe redo your business plans.
Love that. Dominic, I want to ask you about something you said.
Yeah.
You said you teach them to ask for referrals 3 times in the process.
3 times
you
in a
mentioned
transaction.
when, but for the people that don't know how, can you tell me the how?
Yeah, so it's pretty simple. One of the things I like to kind of add in is if you know anybody or if you have any friends or family that appreciate the level of service I provide, I'd be happy to help them too if you don't mind sharing their information with me.
When are you saying that?
So you're doing it after you go under contract, when the deal closes, and then for us, we're really big on follow-up. Even like our conversions and what we convert regularly for leads that come in and customers that are in there. You know, if you look at us, we're really diversified from a team that converts really heavy in the first 90 days. And then even this year, we were looking at numbers yesterday, and we were converting some that were over 200 and 300 days old, right? So when you get them under contract, closing, and then as you follow up, you know, I mean, the relationship is equally as important as you close the deal. If you don't maintain those relationships, you're going to lose those customers over time.
Love that. I'm going to ask you more about what you do to maintain those relationships. So that's perfect. Let's, Ken, talk about your lead gen, where it was and where it is.
So it started off, we've done no Zillow, no Realtor.com. It's always been organic. So it was a lot of agent referrals, and it was me door knocking and open houses and all that kind of thing. And it's now grown to a place where we've got over 25 different sources of business. A lot of it is because of our media machine. So while we don't, would spend any money with any real referral partners like Zillow or anything like that, we have videographers and writers and graphic designers and social people that have helped us grow a brand that reaches 6 to 7 million people a month. And through that, it's where we get the majority of our business.
What kind of spend are we talking, if you don't mind me asking?
In what way?
Like, how has your spend on all the ancillary media stuff grown over the years is probably a better way of asking. Like, where did it start when it was like you with the video guy, and where is it now?
Yeah, I mean, the first 2 or 3 years, it was just me and a cell phone, and I was editing and iMovie. I would shoot in the morning, go on appointments, and then edit at night after my kids went to bed. Then it became me and an editor that was on Fiverr, and then it became a local guy that would follow me around that was on contract. Then 2 years ago, we hired somebody full-time on staff that was a videographer and also an editor. Now we have 3 videographers and a short-form editor on staff, all in-house here in Orlando, plus, again, a writer, a graphic designer, and a social and comms person. So we got a staff. We're staffed up pretty heavily, but still the finances make a lot of sense.
So what's that look like lead gen wise now? If you have 7 million people, you said, that a month that see your stuff. Talk about like what that actually looks like when it turns into leads. Like, what are they hitting? Are they commenting on your stuff? Are they calling you? What's that look like, and how often are they doing it?
Yeah, we've got a database of about 50,000 people that we hit 200 times a month. And so that's social media, that's posting on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, our newsletters. We're just constantly in front of them with either value of
Say that one more time, because I think that went over some people's heads. You have a database of how many people that get hit how often?
50,000 people, and we put out 200 pieces of content a month.
Understood. Keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, and so we like to say old leads are actually better, and that's the one thing. Like, if you could take away something from today, like whether it's an open house lead that came in this weekend, most likely they're not going to transact for 6 to 9 months. So most agents are looking for now business all the time. What we've done is we said we're going to grow a huge database, drip on them forever, and then between now and 10 years from now, when they're ready to transact, they'll only think of us, and so that's the idea.
And if you do a really good job, they actually should be easier to work with. Is that fair too?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, they're
Less objections, less resistance, more trust, more credibility, all those things.
Yeah, it's rare that we're going on a listing appointment against like 7 or 8 other agents. Many times, if they've reached out from one of our channels, they're like, they only want to work with us at this point.
So what I'm hearing is that if you double down on building your brand in a certain way, then you might have to spend more on your brand, but you have to spend a lot less time and energy on converting those people that come in.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Barrett, how about you? I think you're running pretty traditional business, am I right?
Yeah, I'm probably the most old school of the group up here. Biggest majority of mine is still PCSOI, past client sphere of influence. The majority of my appointments, frankly, come from what I call aggregators, which are the Dave Ramseys and the Home Lights and the Fast Experts of the world.
Talk about those. So you obviously you can't all join the Dave Ramsey thing, or you can't all join the Home Light. But talk about some of the things that people are doing or could be doing.
So there's lots of aggregators out there that some of them charge you a monthly fee plus a back-end referral fee. Some of them just charge you a back-end referral fee. If you do a search of the best agent in Orlando, the first thing that pops up is Google. The 3 agents, those are paid for ads. Those are Google local service ads. Anybody can pay for those, and it's a round robin kind of thing. And then the next 4 or 5 are aggregators. They are Dave Ramsey, they are Homelight, they are Zillow, and those are paid for ads, and the odds of you getting above those are pretty slim because those are nationwide companies that are doing that. And they will give you those leads. They will sell you those leads for a back-end referral fee. They are specifically speed to lead. How fast can you get on the phone? So if it is just you as a single agent, you better be able to get on the phone pretty quick. They're meant for teams, meant for people with an ISA, which is an inside sales agent that's on the phone, that's all they're doing. But at the end of the day, the vast majority of our closings come from PCSOI, which is old school.
Talk about how you, and I'll ask all of you, but talk about how you went from solo or small team, because I think you had a partner or something. You know, talk about how you went from small to large and how you went from organic to pouring, because it sounds like all of you in some way are using either an aggregator or your own media to pour more gas on the fire. Like you all seem to have had a business kind of running. Corey's the only one that kind of just launched it, but you all have something you're pouring more gas on the fire now that there's a business. There's over 500 million sold, so he's pouring gas on the fire with Zillow. Brian's pouring some gas on the fire with Zillow. You get what I'm saying? Talk about how you went from not having outside lead sources, building it up yourself to.
So I am still probably the smallest team on this stage with 8 people. And you grow organically as a single agent until you either just can't do it anymore or you just don't want to do it anymore. And traditionally, it's an assistant, a second assistant, and then by the book now, it's an ISA who's making those phone calls from you, and then you go to agents. The growth trajectory is going to be different for everybody. However, you've grown out of what you can do yourself. And yourself, you can do 25 to 35 transactions a year. And if you want to get above that, you've got to bring on people. There's just no way around it.
That's a sweet spot. Love it. How about the rest of you? Talk about how you evolved from, we'll go with you, Ken. How did you evolve from where you started to what you're doing? Talk about the journey, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, so when I moved here, we had a TC pretty much right away. My goal was just to get in front of many people as possible, and then it got to a point where we brought on 2 agents, and then it became another TC, and then an ISA, and then it was that videographer, and then now, so we've got, of the 50 people that are on the team, 31 of them are agents, the rest of them are staff, and so that works out to be the marketing team that I already talked about, 2 ISAs, 3 transaction coordinators, my assistant, and a director of operations. So that's been over the past 9 years. We're typically adding 2 to 3 people on the operations side a year.
Talk about the buckets, though, that you were filling and how to even get to support that.
In what way? Lead
because
gen?
Before you had all this stuff from YouTube, it's easy for someone to say, oh, well, he's got all this YouTube business, but like you had the pillars of your business built really, really well on the fundamentals. Talk a little bit about that transition and where you were what you were focused on before you had this YouTube machine?
Yeah, I've always looked at this idea of having a list was really, if you had a really good list that you could sell to it and stay in front of it and get deals. So I started with agent referrals. Like I had a 7,000 person agent referral list because I would travel around Florida and add those people to the list, provide value. And it wasn't like, by the way, if you guys send me your new open house or your new listing, that's not value. I'll just hit spam, right? And so it's like, hey, here's what we're doing to grow our team. Here's what's doing that's actually working in our business here locally. Hopefully that can help you. And through that, we were really consistent. So it really just came down to expireds for sale by owner, agent referrals, and past clients in Sphere. That's what I built with the first 5 years on. And it's really been over the past 4 or 5 years that we've leaned heavy into media.
And really quick on the FSBO expired part, what were you doing? How often were you doing it?
Every day. I mean, we're spending like 2-3 hours a day just on the phones, visiting them, going in front of them.
Are you still, or does someone on your team still do that?
Thank God, no.
Understood.
I'm just
Brian, how about you? How'd the evolution look?
I've never cold called in my life, to be honest with you. It's just not who I am. I was never good at it. But when I started, with Zillow, my whole focus, kind of like everybody else, was to try and get in front of as many people as possible. I wanted to build as many relationships as I could during that time, and I thought, and I felt, and I was right, was Zillow was the best course for me. So I was spending thousands of dollars, every single month to get in front of, 10, 20 people that were warm, ready, and wanting to buy. And then from there, I just, I really just, instead of being a salesperson, I really focused on being their advisor and really educating myself on the market, on the community, on properties. I wasn't an electrician or a plumber or a home inspector, but I wanted to know as much as I possibly could about a property. So when I met these people, I could really turn into an advisor and focus on that, building that relationship and that rapport with them. And then, over the course of 3 years, as I was selling all these properties, because I was an advisor and because I was so focused on, making sure that I put that person in the right property, there was times where, and this might not be something that everybody agrees to, but I'd give commissions away at times. I'd give credits back to my clients to make sure that they, got into the property and they were comfortable and closed a deal. And those people remember that kind of stuff. 3 years down the road, if I did a good job, I'd maybe get a phone call back from them. Hey, I'm looking to sell my property now. I want to buy another one, or I get a referral. So my business has evolved from such cold meetings with Zillow to, now I'm at a point where all of those people that I've helped over the past, 8 years from those Zillow connections are now, turning into lifelong clients and more referral partners. And
how are you making sure of that? Other than being nice and other than how you're behaving?
I think what separates me and one of the reasons why, I pivoted from running a boutique office to joining the agency was we offer a very, very high level of service. When we talk luxury, we talk not the price point of the property, but it's more about the quality of service that we offer our clients. And, it's very concierge, it's very lifestyle driven. So it's not just getting them to the closing table, collecting a commission and moving on. It's about, being an advocate for them, offering them, other services outside of the property, and being with them after the closing happens. And just, if
in what way?
They call you and say, hey, what's the best gym to go to? Who's a good electrician? Who's the best roofer? What's a great place to go out to dinner? Like, I have all those answers because I've turned myself into a lifestyle brand. And that's how I build my relationships long term. And they come to me for pretty much everything, which, it takes time to learn and have those connections and build those relationships with people in your community. But once you have the best people, you want to hold on to them and be able to offer those to your clients. And they just keep coming back, I guess. So.
Are you plugging that somewhere in conversation so that they know to, like, if there's people in the audience who are like, why don't they call me for stuff? I got referrals to give. Is there something you're doing to make sure that they know, hey, you can call me for other stuff? Like, I know a lot of people. Is that part of a conversation? Just come naturally?
I think it just comes naturally over the course of a transaction. There's been many, many occasions where, I meet a buyer for the first time, at a property, and they fall in love with the cosmetic of it. And, I'm going through it and I'm looking at everything else. I'm looking at the roof. I'm looking at the HVAC. I'm looking at all of these little things that they're not looking at. And I'm pulling them out of that property. I'm saying, hey, I don't know if this is the right fit for you as a first-time home buyer. You guys are spending a premium on to get this. Maybe this doesn't make sense for you. And really being an advisor more than I am a salesperson, and building that trust with them over a period of time. And then when you have that trust, you can start having those conversations about other things. And you show them 15 houses, you're going to become best friends with these people, over that course of time. And just having those conversations, just good restaurants to go to, just having conversations as you're showing properties, becoming a friend.
It's easy when
an
you're
advisor.
likable, though. Some
Yeah,
of us meet them more
everybody.
often, and it's
Yeah.
not a helpful thing. No, I'm just kidding. Corey, tell me about, obviously, yours was started completely with Zillow. So talk about how you've transitioned from feeding completely off Zillow to, or just talk about how you've ensured that you're also growing other pillars or turning the Zillow leads into more.
No, we still feed 100% off Zillow, or not 100%, but, coming into the market the way I did, as I was saying before, Zillow just presented an opportunity. I was not intending to have a team. Now I have multiple teams. It just presented itself from my past history where it gave me an opportunity to influence more people and help. If you see my team, there's very few of my team that don't make a living, because we've kind of built a structure there that helps newer agents really be able to understand what the customer is going through and be able to help them through that process. Going to the table with a lot more background. We always say most realtors are just tour guides. They're opening doors and praying that somebody trips over the carpet and falls down and buys something. Well, that's a good way to be real skinny and not so skinny. Just saying. So we just try to help the agents really understand, like, there's some, coming from corporate sales background, I ran Marriott for many years. The structure to it is the important part, right? There's a lot of things that happen in there to build trust and confidence, and also be able to have that customer, like you said, call you back, right? We build those relationships as well, but more importantly, the trust is the biggest part. They didn't pick you, they picked the house. They didn't care about you. So it's being able to earn that customer. When I started, I used to hire experienced people and all this stuff, and now I hire personalities, right? Because we buy from the people we like. So it became a way bigger part of our business organically through that, just on the sheer number of sales that we've had in the past 3.5 years. Now the referral business, much like all these guys, the referral business is where we really push a lot of our effort to, because we did do a good job for them. They do like us, and they don't have a problem with coming back and seeing us and bringing their friends and family, so.
Real quick, what are some of the things that you're teaching them to do to make sure you have the right systems in place? Like, what's some of the stuff you learned from your corporate background that you're drilling into your people? Because if you're working with people that didn't come from real estate, you're obviously training them well. What's some of the stuff you're training them in?
Well, if you look at pretty much any company out there, they lead with their logo, right? So we've been very fortunate that we're easy to find with social media and being on Zillow. I tell people right up front, just Google the Corey Smith Group. It's not hard to figure out. In 3.5 years, a couple hundred sales and, 500 5-star reviews. It's not hard to figure out who we are. So social media can either be really good for you or really bad for you if you got a bad reputation. So these agents don't understand. Again, the people came out to see the house. They don't have any confidence in you. Most people think realtors are really bad. So my agents really lean on the fact that we have a really good track record and it's easy to verify who we are. Makes a big difference when they're meeting that customer for the first time.
Love that. Dominic, talk about what you've done in transition and what you're teaching your team members to keep these Zillow people coming back.
Well, I think the first thing we do to keep the Zillow agents coming back, the customers coming back on that on those any of those lead generation platforms, is understanding the likelihood of them buying that first house that they inquired on is less than 1%. Right? So that gives you the opportunity to sit back and say, this is what it's going to take for me to earn the trust of this customer. I need to have more knowledge than anybody they've ever spoke to on the phone, because God knows they just click, 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 right? So everybody's an internet professional. They know everything until they meet you. So one of the things I coach on is get in front of that customer. You get in front of that customer, you're smarter than the other agents, you know more, you're more experienced, you've got a better platform, you have better teams, you have better systems. You've got from our title company to our mortgage company to everything that we have going on. We are, I would say, a little bit more advanced than the average agent because I push everyone getting to know mortgages, getting to know the ins and outs of things, being able to talk about it, understand what goes on inside of a house to where when you walk in, much like Brian was talking about, is earn that trust the first time, right? Talk about what they're not seeing. One of the things we do is, we try to get that mindset out of looking at houses and focusing on homes, right? So, have a process in place for, hey, here's the expectation. We're going to tour this home. When we're done, we're going to stop in the driveway. On a scale of 1 to 7, let me know where this house lands. Anything 6 or higher, something we really need to focus into, right? And kind of dig a little bit further into. And this is a really good house home that maybe you can sit back and talk about. When you do that, also you sit back and you say, hey, let's take a look at this curb appeal. Is this a home you can see yourself living in? Not one of the houses we're touring, right? The whole mental part of that kind of changes it, and then you get it down from 7 houses to a top 3 to a top 4 to where you're really focusing on what they want. But that first opportunity you have to get in front of them is the most important one. I've won a ton of deals just because after they meet with us and have conversations, they're blown away because they say, holy smokes, like this is completely different from anything I've ever experienced with real estate, right? Because a lot of people don't invest in themselves. So I think investing in yourself and making that phenomenal first impression goes a long way. And listen, if someone says they have a realtor, they've spoke to a realtor, as long as there's no ethics violations there, or I've got a cousin who I've spoken to, I'm going to go talk to them because guess what? Their cousin, I guarantee I'm out way smarter than their cousin, and I'm going to win them over, and they're not going to want to work with their cousin after we're done when they see that, their cousin may not have been looking out for their best interest because they just haven't invested in themselves to get where they need to be.
You want to role play that combo? No, I'm just kidding.
I have a question. Why a scale from 1 to 7 versus 1 to 10 or 1 to 10?
I was wondering the same
Because
thing.
10's too big, right? 10 you can stop from 5 to 7, and then what happens there, right? We shorten it down, get rid of the 10. Now you're 1 to 5, you're back of 5. That's probably not the one. But if you're 6 or anywhere near a 7, the mentality of that is like, wow, this is really, 9 out of my 10 boxes is here. Let's maybe sit back and focus on this one and maybe take a second tour because I just think 10 is just way too large.
7, 10. That 3 difference is big, huh?
It is. I mean, when we prep them for anything 6 or higher is something that you should be submitting offers on, or maybe starting a negotiation process. Get them away from that. Yeah.
Sorry, Ken's doing the 6, 7 here.
Oh,
So
got it. I missed
I
it.
like
For those of you who have kids, right? Yep.
Yeah, got it.
All right, so let's talk about biggest contributors to your growth in a more challenging market. And I don't want to just hear Zillow, even though a lot of you as aggregators talk about what you're doing with it, if that's the answer. Like, what are you doing today or this last year in what's been a more challenging market for some agents? How have you guys continued to grow? What are the things that you're doing to make sure that you're growing? That could be daily habits, systems, attitude, any of that. Corey, go ahead.
Attitude, that's exactly where I was going to start. So with my agents, a lot of it's the emotion of it, right? So good times or bad times, I never tell them the negative of what's happening in the market. I always try to send them out on a positive note of what's coming ahead, right? So I also try to prep them a little bit when we're going into the slow periods because a lot of times as an agent out there trying to make a living on sales, you need to be able to prepare for those little bit of slow times. Don't go buy a new car going into December, things like that. So kind of setting their mentality. Now, us that are familiar, that's been doing it for a little while, we kind of know the seasons a little better. So I spend a lot of time with the psychological part trying to help them understand the ups and downs throughout the year so they don't get blindsided when, December gets here and it's a little bit weird month. You got Thanksgiving, you got all this stuff happening. Try to mentally prepare them that it's going to be okay. In January, it'll be here and we'll be back to the sunny side again. Because if they don't expect it, it's easy for them to get. Salespeople are or real estate agents, whatever you want to call them, they're very finicky emotionally. So we spend a lot of times trying to keep their head in the game in those little bit tougher times and showing them that hopefully it's the light at the end of the tunnel and not the train.
Yep.
Right?
That's why the money today is going to the Movember Foundation, right?
Right.
Ken, you look like you were ready to add something.
Yeah, I was going to say, how many of you guys got licensed before 2019? That's like half the room, right? I think there's a lot of people that got licensed afterwards. And so I feel like for us, it's revisiting and talking about, hey, listen, 2020, 2021 was not a normal market. And so for us, we got back to the basics, which is like, it sounds boring, but it really works very well. So for us, it's the 4 conversations. How many contacts are you having a day? How many appointments are you going on? How many contracts are you writing? And how many closings are you having? And if you're not hitting your closing goal, then it's one of those 4 conversations that you're having an issue with. And so we get back to time blocking and what they actually spending their efforts on, because it can feel like I'm very busy, I'm doing all of these things, but I'm not getting the closings that I want. And so slowing down and making sure that our people are really well prepared with those 4 conversations and have the tools to succeed is what I feel like is done really well. We also went back and looked at all the sources that were not crushing it for us this year. We stopped doing, and we leaned into what was actually working really well, which was agent referrals, past clients, Sphere, our content. We got rid of a lot of the stuff that wasn't.
I'm gonna have you break down the 4 things if that's cool, and what you would actually tell an agent to pivot with the 4 things. But one thing that you reminded me of is one of my mentors always talks about auditing what's working and auditing what's not, and then auditing your approach, because a lot of people, they're like, this isn't working, but the truth is your approach on that thing sucks. And that thing would have worked if you had a better approach. You've been having a good approach here. This might not be as good as this, but your approach is wildly better on one versus the other. So one of the things that a lot of people forget to do is audit if your approach is optimized. He always says OAO, which is optimize, then automate, then outsource, like when you're trying to scale something. And a lot of people, they try to optimize or they try to automate something, or they try to outsource or delegate it or automate it, and they haven't actually maximized it first. They haven't optimized that system before handing it to someone else. Well, you hand a person on your team a system that is only 60% good, and they do it 60% as well as you, then suddenly they're getting really bad results. And sometimes it's easy to blame the whole thing when really it was your approach. So I just wanted to add that part to what you were saying. Brian, you wanted to add something, I think, a second ago.
Yeah, I don't know. He's looking at his phone, but you had you asked that question of what separates a great agent from a good agent, and I think the answer to that is to treat this as a business, right? A lot of real estate agents treat this almost as if it was like a side hustle. If you treat it as a business and you go into it, so what we do with all of our agents is we have a strategy session every single year at the end of the year, and the first thing we ask is what's your goal, for next year? I want to sell 50 million. Okay. Well, how do you do that? Break it down. Peel those layers back. Let's figure out, what is it going to take to get to 50 million? How many clients do you need to have there? How many contacts do you need to have? How many appointments do you need to set? How much money do you need to spend in lead generation to get those appointments? You have to have something figured out and have consistency with your business regardless of the market. If you're consistent, the market is irrelevant. You just treat every single day and you move one step closer to getting that deal, I think is extremely important. So we talk a lot about structure. What does your day look like? What do you do in the morning? What do you do in the afternoon? What do you do at night? Have a structure set in place, and things are going to pivot based off of, buyers want to see houses, you get a listing appointment, you got to change. But you have to do things every single day to take yourself one step closer in order to get that next client that's going to close or get that next deal. So it's
Brian,
consistency.
what's the schedule look like? Because you're leading me to my next question anyway, that I was going to ask you guys to answer his questions. Talk about your daily schedule. Or the ideal schedule.
As a broker now, it's different.
What should an
I'm
agent
putting out a lot of
schedule
fires. My agent schedule is, so personal stuff, get the kids to school, get them all ready, get into the office by 9 o'clock. The first thing I'm going to do for the first hour is I'm going to focus a lot on my follow-up. In today's market, a buyer is looking to buy a house within 6 to 18 months. If you go out and show a property to somebody for the first time, the likelihood of them buying right off the bat is very, very low. And a lot of the issue I think a lot of our agents have, or agents in general have, is their ability to follow up and stay consistent with that and know that if that buyer is going to, looking at properties, he's eventually going to buy something, right? So my first hour is all about my follow-up. I break these people down into different buckets. I have a hot bucket. I know these people need to buy within the first 1 to 2 months. I have an active bucket. These are my buyers and sellers that I'm consistently having conversations with. And then I have my nurture bucket. The nurture bucket is, I feel like a lot of people are falling, they kind of just become kind of a, it'll happen if it happens. I pay a lot of attention to my nurture bucket because that's my business in the future, right? So my first hour is hitting and doing a ton of follow-up, Afternoon, it's a lot of broker stuff, marketing, dealing with agents, answering questions, doing that, checking my emails. And then my afternoon is I'm showing houses, listing appointments, and going to show buyers and that kind of thing. So it's consistent, across the board. It changes a little bit here and there, but I'm always doing something to try and figure out how to get that next deal.
Love that. Barrett, talk about your daily habits.
So it's similar, actually. In the morning, it is about lead generation, lead follow-up. We do appointments in the afternoon. I want to talk about growth for a second because I believe business growth starts with personal growth. And work harder on yourself than you do on your business. Part of that is showing up, so good for you for being here. It is constant learning. What are you reading? What are you listening to? Our brains are pretty fertile soil, and whatever you put into it will grow. So be very careful with what you are putting into your mind. Because
Barrett, what are you reading and listening to? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
That's
I
all
was
right.
curious.
Right now, it's Sahil Bloom, the five creations of wealth, the 5 levels of wealth.
Sounds about right.
I'm typically, I've got 3 or 4 books going at all times, and as well as audibles.
I was going to ask audio or reading.
Yep, both. I do both audio and reading. I've got 2 different coaches on a personal level. You have to pour into yourself, period. Because if you don't have anything inside of you to give to somebody else, you're stuck. You're going nowhere. So please take this, if you don't take anything else, take this to heart. Work harder on yourself than you do on your business.
Love it. Brian, you add something?
Yeah, I just want to add to that. I think, that's a great point. With all the buyer broker agreements coming out, was it last November? One of the challenges that a lot of agents have is their ability to add value to the client. And you meet somebody for the first time, and in getting them to sign a BBA when they don't know you is extremely hard. But adding value, educating yourself, listening to podcasts while you're in the car. We're in the car a ton as agents, right? Listen to podcasts, do the things that are going to separate yourself. Becoming smarter in everything that you do real estate, I think, is extremely important. So just wanted to kind of piggyback off of what he said. Education is so important. It's what's going to separate you guys from everybody else that's doing this business.
I'm going to let Dominic answer that one, but then I'm going to have Ken break down the 4 things.
Yeah, let me touch on something real fast, too, that
Yeah,
they
go
had
ahead,
mentioned was, I know she's going to kill me for this, but, removing the emotions from the transaction, from your relationships, from all of that, and being the professional that they go to for a solution, right? Don't go to your customers with problems, go to your customers with solutions, and be open to feedback. You've got to have someone, if you guys are single agents, that you can go to look up to, the coaches, whatever it may be. She's going to kill me, but I'm going to do it anyway. One of my agents that's here, Sarah, she is a phenomenal example. I know she's going to kill me. She is a great example of somebody who was so open to learning, developing, tearing her business open. We literally ripped it open from the inside out. She would do several transactions. She was a good agent. And by being vulnerable and being open, accepting feedback, allowing me to go with her as she met customers, allowing me to go with her on showings, allowing me to we tore her follow-up boss apart, one of my admins and I, and we really just ripped it apart and opened up her whole entire business, right? And she was like, listen, I want to grow, I want to develop, I need some help. What do I need to do? And she was super vulnerable about it. Most of us, when we start getting feedback, we get defensive, like it's a bad thing, right? Feedback is actually a really good thing and a great opportunity for growth. And now Sarah's one of my top agents on my team. And it took her several months, really just kind of putting her head down, digging deep, getting into the systems. So when you have those opportunities or you're struggling, make sure you partner with someone. Get a coach like they were talking about. There's so many of them out there between Brian Buffini
Dominic,
and
can I ask you for specifics? They don't have to be on hers, but on either hers or any on your team. Like when you say you tore up their follow-up boss, like for the guy that wants to know what the difference is, right? And he knows, okay, I got to audit the things, but what should he actually be looking for in his follow-up boss and his approach on his appointments? Obviously, you can ask one of you guys to field train, if you will, or cross-train and watch them and look at their stuff, but what are you actually looking at and auditing?
Yeah, so in our CRM, we use Follow Boss, and what we're looking for is I want more than nothing, right? I want to know all the notes. I want to know their kids' names. I want to know what they're looking for, their areas. I want notes in there showing, if you're going back to the platform, showing where they're stretching out of the areas that they're looking for. Where can we, have some opportunities there to take them out of the 2 or 3 zip codes they said they're going to look into, when their actual search engines online are showing they're stretching out to 4 or 5 other zip codes and looking at the same thing. So it's really kind of understanding your customer and getting a good snapshot of that avatar on what exactly it is that we can do differently, because we all know buyers, sellers, no matter what it is, they say one thing, and at the end of the day, by the time that transaction closes, we're probably on a whole nother level of something that never ever mentioned, right? So it's actually putting the work in and spending a little bit of time digging into it. And even now with Follow Boss and Follow Boss 2.0, the more you put in there, the AI summaries are going to break down and tell you what you should be doing or following up with, and even giving you suggestions on how to manage that and kind of move forward with it. So
Did you guys catch what he said? He's not just auditing their system, he's auditing the details that he reads between the lines from the notes in the system. So some of you are like, I don't even have notes in my system.
Right.
What he's saying is he's expecting the first step, that person has detailed enough stuff that he can read it and say, oh, you should have shown them this place, or they're also looking here, and whatnot. So that alone, I think, is a nugget, because I would bet you that at least half of this room doesn't have their people in a system, and if they have the people in a system, they definitely don't have that detailed notes.
Right.
And if they have notes, it's like, Brian's dog's name this,
Right.
he liked this, and that's like it. It doesn't actually give you info you can audit. Is that fair?
It
that
is
probably
fair.
reasonable?
And one of the things I always tell them is when your showings are done and when you just stop, open up your phone, put all the notes in there that you know, right? So, because if you've got nothing to go back to them with, or inventory is not where they're at, or whatever the situation may be, if little Johnny had a soccer game that was a soccer tournament that was coming up that was really important to the family, one of your phone calls and building your relationship, not your transaction, should be about asking how Johnny's soccer game went, right? And they're going to take the call and be like, hey, I was driving today, thought about little Johnny. How'd the game go? I was really excited to meet him. He was pumped up on the weekend when we saw the house, and they think it's going to be real estate related, but now you're actually invested in them and their family, and they actually it makes them feel as if there's someone, not just somebody you're trying to make money off of, right? And they're looking out for their best interests, understanding their families, and even little things. I pick up little Barbie dolls and little toys and things, and when their kids are coming on showings, bring them in there, and hey, just wanted to give you something to play with while we're touring homes, So, but by putting those notes in there, like, little Johnny's 4 years old, and he's currently into, Hot Wheel cars, right? A $4 Hot Wheel car in a little bag for $5, you're now building a deeper relationship with those customers. But if you don't put those notes in the system and you don't know what they are, by the time your database is like he's at 50,000, I'm 10,000, you're going to forget in a year what Johnny's name was if you don't document it.
I'm going to give vendors in the room or affiliates that are listening to this, that are like just hearing real estate stuff and not seeing how to apply it. I'm going to give you one here, is you could do the same thing for the agents.
Correct.
You could be listening to what they like. Like I remember, 12 years ago, I saw Dan Grebe at a Georgia Bulldogs game with his son, and I bought him a signed mini Georgia Bulldogs helmet. It probably cost me $40 or $50, and that relationship has paid itself tenfold over the last decade. He tells that story all the time, because I was just some guy trying to sell knives, and he wouldn't take my calls, and I got him this $50 gift, and he bought thousands of dollars in knives, and became an advocate forever. So I just throw out there that keeping the notes in your system, whether you're an agent or not, could be the difference maker. And one other thought, and then I'll let Barrett answer this. Richard Abar was on this stage earlier this year, and he said every day he actually clears his whole call log, all the calls in his phone and all the text messages he archives or whatever, because he goes through them at the end of the day and does like a review, and he's like, okay, I talked to Juliana, what happened on that call that I can remember, and he puts it all in his database. Now, I couldn't do it once a day. I'd have to do it like 12 times a day, but it would all be in there, and it made me realize like how much more effective we could be if we took the time to do it, or at least to audit it at the end of the day. And okay, I might have talked to 6 people on my way to somewhere, but do I actually have time scheduled where I sit down and I make sure all 6 conversations, continue to move? So you were going to add something, Barrett.
I have a question versus a comment.
Let's hear it.
You said you use Follow Up Boss. You've got a 50,000 person database. What CRM do you use?
Currently, Real Estate Webmasters in Constant Contact.
Can all of you just tell me what database you use? Let's hear it. CRMs. Brian?
Follow Boss. Yep.
Corey?
Brivity.
Brivity?
Does Google or Zillow require you guys to use Follow Boss?
Today's session is sponsored by Follow Up Boss.
They bought it.
Love it. No, I was just joking that they sponsored the session.
See him in the back.
Ken, answer the question about the 4 things. You were talking about you audit the 4 things. Talk about what were the 4 things you're looking at, and then what are you looking at to audit them, and what are the recommendations you make based off what you see?
Yeah, I think so. When you're looking at your time schedule for the day, your time block for the day, like you're gonna have income servicing and income producing. And for those of you guys that have had like those months where you're selling 3 or 4 or 5 houses and then you go 2 or 3 with 0, has anybody ever been there before? Yeah, you have. Like it's really because you start getting all these deals, and then all of a sudden you start servicing those deals and going on inspections, and then you've got this roller coaster business for forever. And so for us, we're breaking down our folks, like what does their time block actually look like? And so the conversations are the 4 conversations are contacts, appointments, contracts, closings. And so if somebody tells me, hey, I made 20 contacts today, or I talked to 20 people on the phone today, but I had 0 appointments, they're saying the wrong thing on the phone. They're not providing value. They've got commission breath. They're taking their initial reactionary no. And so we've got coaches on our team. Dylan's one of them. And so, he's going through figuring out, okay, what does that look like? If you're talking to 20 people and you book an appointment, awesome. Did you get the BBA signed? Did you get the listing agreement signed? No. Okay, then it's a scripting issue. Okay, great. Then you've got them under so now you've got them under contract. Did it actually get all the way to closing? Well, no. Every contract I get, unfortunately, falls apart. Well, then you've got probably a scripting issue on inspection, on how to get through appraisal, on did you have a good mortgage partner up front in order to get them to close, like all of those kind of things. And so if we slow down and figure out, okay, if your goal is to sell 30 homes this year, then you need to have this many conversations a day, this many appointments a week, this many contracts a month in order to hit your goal. And so that's all comes back to those 4 conversations.
And then how often are you auditing if those numbers are on track? Like you said, okay, I want to sell 10 million, I got to have 100 conversations a week or a day. I'm making up the numbers, obviously, but maybe they're not hitting the numbers that make 100 a day work. Mm-hmm. When are they noticing, and how are you noticing and going, you know what, you need to make 125? Or you need to get better at this part.
Yeah, I mean, our coach, they meet with our coach every week. So we're going through how many contracts did you write, how many appointments did you go on, how many contacts did you have.
So it's like a 4-point scoreboard that you're looking at pretty constantly?
All the time, yeah.
And one more time, break it down for everyone with your auditing.
Contacts, appointments, contracts, closings.
And I'd like to add something in that.
Go for it, Barrett.
A contact is not a conversation. Just because you talk to somebody and they go, not now, thanks anyway, click.
Correct.
That's a contact, but that's not a conversation.
That's right.
Those are 2 very different things.
If I may.
Yeah,
You know,
go ahead, Dominic.
something that a lot of independent agents and single agents don't think about or kind of think outside the box is, building the relationships with the agents are equally as important as building the relationships with the consumers, right?
I love that.
So
say that one more time, bro.
building the relationship with the local agents is equally as important as building the relationships with the consumers. I can't tell you how many times this year, even Corey and I a month ago, we closed deals calling each other. Hey, we got somebody on their properties. Let's make it happen. What can we do? We pick up the phone. We have a relationship with each other. It's easy for us to get one of our deals in because we know we're going to close them. Now it's not a favor. It's not something special, but when that relationship is there and we can speak on behalf of Brian's team, Corey's team, all of our teams and say, hey, this team closes deals. It's going to happen. You've got this scenario. So build those relationships, and also think outside the box when you're building your relationships. The calls you're making, a lot of people are like, okay, well, where am I going to make my calls? Consider other states, right? Some of you guys are probably with some big names or small names where there's other franchises or other things. Start making those calls to other states that are moving here. Set yourself up 10 phone calls each day to try and get 3 connections to add into your CRM. Right now, you put them on a quarterly check-in, see what they've got going on. You're building those relationships. We have guys in our office that are closing 20-something deals a year just off of other agent relationships they've built across the United States where they just do check-ins. We've got somebody in my office does Margarita Mondays. So everybody that she's connected with in other states, they all jump on a Zoom meeting together. They have a margarita together for 30 minutes, and they sit back and they talk about what their markets are doing, what they're seeing, who's relocating, who knows something, and business just flows back and forth. So when you think about adding to your database and adding value into what you're doing and who to contact, don't forget to get out of Florida, right? I mean, you can go into. Here's the problem. The problem is how many times do we get phone calls from somebody from Miami or from God knows where that's going to come up and show an Orlando property, right? So I'm not going to call anybody in South Florida or North Florida because they're going to drive because most of them are desperate. They're not doing a lot of work. So think about that. Kind of stretch out a little bit on what you're
And
going
I
to
recommend
do.
you look up the feeder cities. Just a thought. Like, you
Yeah.
should actually know it. And I'm not going to pretend to name them all, but you should know what markets move to Orlando the most.
Right.
And I'd be targeting the agents in there. They're going to be way easier to work with and just get referrals from than going to random consumers anyway, I would bet. But that's just another thought. Did you have something else you were saying about that? Did I cut you off?
No, you're good.
All right, here's what I want to ask you guys. Since we had a bunch of social media questions, I want to ask about what you are, like, I want everyone to just break down what you are doing on social media, how important is it to your business, and how are you managing whatever you're doing on social. One thing I noticed, I want to point out about this group, though, is that even Ken, who's getting a lot of business through social, is very specific about the outbound side of it. How many pieces of media are you making a month?
200.
See, he's very specific. The same way that the rest of them are on their phone calls, on their database or whatnot, they're running social media like a business, like a lead gen system, not just like, oh, I posted a selfie today, let's see who calls me. They're like very specific about how many pieces of content they're putting out. So whether they're social media heavy or not, it seems like everyone here controls the activity that drives the lead. Like they control an activity that can grow the business. They're not just sitting back hoping that their phone rings more. They're out there pounding the pavement metaphorically or literally. Is that fair? In some way. So let's talk about social media. What are you doing? What's it look like? How do you manage it? I'll start with you, Barrett.
I'm not doing well enough. We do have a VA that manages our social media, so we are posting pretty consistently on a daily basis. For us, it is more for contact of database. It is top-of-mind marketing versus creation of new business, which is what it really, should be. So we are posting constantly. We do have somebody specifically that's her job to do it, and yet we don't do it at a high enough level from my own perspective.
So it's just staying in front of your sphere for you, is what I'm hearing.
Correct, yep.
Brian?
We will never be a Ken Posick office. Like, he's doing it at a level that I think
Not if you say that, right?
Yeah, well, yeah,
I'm
I
just
shouldn't
kidding.
say.
Watch your words.
He's just crushing the social media game. That's, and it's amazing what I've seen over the years watching him, kind of explode. So kudos to you, Ken. Our social media it's our online resume. For us, it's a place where our buyers and our sellers can go to see who we are as people. My personal page, I'm not really big on the social media game. I post what I can, or we post the properties that we sell. We do, I don't want to say the minimum, but we do enough to have a great resume online. I feel like when you meet somebody, for the first time, the first place they're going to go to is they're going to go check out your reviews, or they're going to go on your social media, and they need to see stuff. So they need to see that you're doing something, and if you're not super busy, you need to show that you are somehow, right? So it's creating stories, creating posts, doing something that shows that you're doing something on social media, so people can see you. So for us, social media isn't really a place for us to to get business. It's just a place for our clients to go and see who we are as people, and if they want to work with us in the future.
Love it. Corey?
So I'm probably the opposite of everybody. I tell everybody I've ever met in real estate, so Ken Posick is the only person I know that makes money on social media. I swear to God, I was sitting at a restaurant in Texas or somewhere, and the people next to me heard I was in real estate in Florida. They said, "You know Ken Posick?"
Don't you just love that?
Can't get away from this guy. So,
Condolences. Thank you.
no, but we kind of approach it the difference. I see a lot of people posting a lot of crap. I mean, just frankly, and I kind of teach my agents the same. Stay off damn Facebook. The people on there talking aren't selling anything. Pull up their numbers. So, other than Ken Posick, I'm going to say it again, I don't know people that make money off social media. If they're spending all that time making content, we can verify this guy. He makes money doing it. The rest of them are wasting time. They should be working harder on real estate. So if your lead is social media, you're going to be real skinny, and not because of CrossFit. I'm going to just say it how it is. Because this guy's got a plan, and he runs it like a business. He's not posting selfies at the mall. And that's what most of the people I see out there are doing. And then we laugh because we pull up their numbers, and we're like, okay, whose car were you standing beside? Because you didn't buy that selling real estate, right? So I'm kind of the opposite of social media, and we really want to build our history before we put a story out there, right? Because what social media does for most people is make you a target and give you an opportunity to be picked apart. So we want to build the story. So when we tell our story, we can back it up with the stats that we have that got us here. So just a little different
Awesome.
way to think about it.
By the way, if
right?
you are posting selfies or pictures today, make sure you hashtag MasterclassCFL. If everybody here could post one, at least for our sake, to let people know that we filled the room up again for the last session. Dominic, let's hear what you got to say about social. And by the way, this is all helpful because we hear all ends of the spectrum. Like, that's the best part of it. What's your thoughts on social?
Yeah, so oh my gosh, social.
Did you let him know I do still have an 8-track, right?
And a record player, right?
It's hard because you got a guy with a Lambo, and he's like about to answer that he loves social. No, I'm just kidding.
My Lambo is hardly on social.
No, that's why I'm laughing. I'm like, he wasn't quite talking about you, but it is funny.
Yeah, am I allowed to post selfies on there or no? I'm capable. All right. So one of the things that we're focusing on now is we've actually hired a girl by the name of Chelsea to start doing more of it for us, right? But it also comes down to when you do your social, you have to understand, right? The average person watches videos that are about 8.5 seconds long. So if you guys are making videos, and Ken, this is about your wheelhouse to really touch on as far as the facts and the details on that stuff. But understand what are you going to do on social to actually capture the audience? What is the average view time? Who's
And he
the
really
shoppers?
means in the first 8 seconds.
Right, correct. Right. And if you can keep it shorter, right? If you grab them in those 8 seconds, you're good. If not, keep it to 8 seconds, 10 seconds, and then they're going to move on from it. And then understand who's shopping right now. I think it's actually the Gen Zs that are taking over at this current market, right? So you got their videos, their texters, they're all of that. They're online. So you got to target. Maybe I'm misspeaking because this is my goal for what I'm going to be doing.
Keep going, man. You're good.
Is we're going to start targeting that, knowing that it's the Gen Zs right now that are really going to be hitting the market pretty hard. So we hired a marketing company, Chelsea, who's going to be doing nowhere near 200 for us every single month, but we're going to deep dive into it and kind of build ours out. We do okay with it. We do well. We've got several videos with 50,000, 10,000, 11,000 views. Like just kind of figuring out what's working and what's not. The selfie is not working. I'll tell you that. And nobody wants to see the selfie, right? So, but yeah, we kind of have a little bit different of approach where when things kind of get a little bit tighter and things kind of get a little bit skinnier, I actually double down on marketing. I actually increase marketing where everybody else normally pulls back. And it's really worked well for me over the last 6 years. And it's I don't know, Madison will be able to tell us, but it's just what's always worked, right? So don't be afraid when other people are scared to be the one taking the risks, right? All of us took risks and we went out there and probably I put everything online. I'm sure these guys did as well at some point while we were eating rice and eggs and ramen noodles, to just risk it all. And you've got to be willing to take those risks. So make the videos. And even when you guys are connecting with consumers, they want to see a video of someone. They want to see if it's a real person. They don't want to see someone in a cubicle when they're getting connected online or whoever it may be. Don't be afraid to take a quick 5-second video. Hey, good afternoon. This is Dominic with Remax. Looking forward to connecting this afternoon. I've got a tour request in. I've got my Zillow link inside the profile. Be sure to click on it and see all the wonderful things consumers have to say and why they love working with us. Right? Takes a couple seconds, personalizes it. Now they know your face. You're real. You're not behind a call center. So just do things different when it comes to social media and videos and kind of getting out there and doing 2025.
And if you're in the right place, you can track. Ken and I could probably talk about this all day. Or I could ask him about it all day. I couldn't talk that much about it. But tracking who's watching your videos and staying on the people, whether that's cold traffic, whether that's like if you're in a system like BombBomb or whatever, you can look at who does it. So anyway, all right. So those are the social media questions. Ken, do you have anything you want to add to that before I go to the next one?
We do a lot of social media.
Yeah, I kind of figured. Yeah. Let's hear it.
No, so we're we call it omni-channel, so we're everywhere. So LinkedIn, X, YouTube, multiple YouTube channels, multiple Instagram accounts, TikTok, blogs. Like literally, you can't get newsletters. You can't get away from us. That's the goal online, and so we're putting out a lot. And so I agree with you though. If you're not going to do that, if that's not going to be a pillar where you go really hard after anything, pick one. If you're going to be like, I'm going to be on Instagram and I'm going to crush Instagram. I'm going to be on YouTube. I'm going to crush YouTube. Don't try to do them all. Like we've kind of started with one and then added over time. And I think that's really important. And then if you're at the very least, you should be on Instagram and most likely LinkedIn because people will find you, and try to figure out, are you legit or not? So if you have reviews, great. Then if you go on their Instagram and it's, them at the beach and never selling real estate, well, maybe I'm not going to reach out to this person. But if they start looking at your stories on Instagram, they see, oh, this person's out showing houses, this person's at closings, this person's at new construction and actually trying to figure out product knowledge for their clients. Like you want to get caught doing what you say you do, and Instagram is a really great way to do that.
Love that. That are taking notes may want to jot this down. It's an online presence versus it's being present online. There's a difference, right? And you have to pick which one you're trying to do. Having an online presence is someone like Ken, which is you can't get away from him. He has a presence online that, like, quote, owns the stage, if you will. He's got online present. Present online is you look for Brian online, you find him. Or you look for Corey and you find him and he looks certified as great and legit, right? Like, there's a difference between making sure that you're present online, which is if someone searches, they find legitimacy, versus they don't even have to search them in their face. And you kind of have to pick between the two. But I think a lot of people, they don't evaluate which one they're even going for. So they're worried about being present online, but then they're looking at Ken's results and wondering why they don't have presence, or vice versa. And it's like, you got to stick with one thing and notice what you're actually trying to accomplish. So a lot of these people, they just want to be present. Some of these people want to have online presence. All right, before I ask my last question or so, I got to ask you guys about AI, since I said to ask about it. And then I want to hear a couple things from the audience. So really quickly, just who's using AI and how? Let's just give a quick rundown. Who's using AI, how, and don't just tell me you're using ChatGPT for listing descriptions. Who's doing something?
Who isn't?
So,
No, I'm sorry. Go. You want to go?
sure. We are getting ready to start with an AI caller, where it's actually voice to voice with a consumer, that when I say speed to lead, you're not going to beat an AI from a speed to lead. And we are getting ready to beta test how well consumers react to that initial contact with an AI voice to voice.
Your
So we'll
voice
see.
or a random person?
No, not my voice.
Alexa
It'll be a
or-
female voice.
With a British accent or no?
No
I'm just
British
kidding.
accent, American accent.
I was just curious. All right, Brian?
I use, I think who doesn't use AI for, their listing descriptions? I'm a terrible writer. My wife did my listing descriptions for probably the first 3 years. Having that is made things a lot more efficient. I've built out my CMAs, to be very, very easy now. So I've streamlined my CMAs for all my listing appointments. It's a one pager, but it is very, very in depth. So I do CMAs that way. We don't use it as much as we probably should.
All good.
Yeah.
Any others?
There's other things I just can't think of them.
All right, who else? Ken?
So obviously we use chat for quite a few things, but we also use 11 Labs for content creation as well. So if you some of the voiceovers that you hear on Instagram, on TikTok that we do, many times I'm not super articulate on the fly, and so my editor will go back, use 11 Labs. That's an interesting little tidbit there beyond chat.
Love it. Either Dominic or Corey, either of you want to add something on AI?
I don't think we do much with AI right now, outside of the follow-up stuff and kind of automating some of those systems that we already have in place. We don't do enough with AI. I think that's a big opportunity for us to kind of grow into and tap into. I've not liked a lot of where it has been, but where it is now, I think is completely different in the sense of before it did sound like robots, it didn't sound like real people, to where now I think it's actually evolved around to be more of a personalized experience. But we're not doing a good job of that, and that's something we've got an opportunity on.
Love it. Corey, anything you want to add on AI?
You next to the Lambo?
Well, unfortunately, I grew up in the 90s where the computers got smart and killed everybody. So I'm a little reluctant with this AI thing. But
I grew up in Philly, so AI was Allen Iverson
Right,
when I was a kid.
The
He's a big
AI,
deal, but he wasn't going to kill you.
As much as I'm probably kind of the last person to move fast as stuff, I don't usually trace the new trend very fast. I like kind of stay slow in my business and keep doing what's been working. But the AI is kind of forcing itself into our world, and we're seeing the effective possibilities of it, right? So fortunately or unfortunately, with our partnership with Zillow, they got some kind of weird exclusive with ChatGPT. So whether I like it or don't like it, they keep pushing the needle and presenting us with opportunities that makes our life a little bit easier. So I guess it's going to be here, so I got to learn too.
So it's mostly supplemental for most of you, it sounds like, to some extent. Real quick, I want to get, who learned something today? Make some noise. I have one more question I still want to ask them, but I want to hear what you guys learned. Somebody share what you got out of today so far. Yep, whoever. Yeah, go ahead.
How do you capture agents from social media, and you have a specific social media schedule
how do I capture agents from social media? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what's your schedule and what do you do to attract agents online?
So for us, man, do something dope first and then tell the story about it. And then after people see that, then you say, hey, by the way, we're also looking to have more people do dope stuff with us. So it can't be like, so for me, it's not like I'm an amazing team leader, I'm the best brand, blah, 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 join me. It's so-and-so on my team is crushing it. She's a mom of 3. She's, her husband travels a ton and she's selling 40 houses a year. If you want to be more like her, you should join us. That's the kind of thing. So storytelling's massive.
Love that. All right, I got a takeaway from the audience here. Someone give me a takeaway, not a question. Someone learned something. Anybody learned something? Yeah, right here.
The takeaway is that how top producers are still humble and real people and have been willing to share like all the advice, even though you show like your weaknesses in front of us and be vulnerable, like it really helps us like grow from that and understand that we all can have strengths too.
So I love it. Top producers are real people, and they're vulnerable. By the way, speaking of the fact that top producers are real people, I'm going to tease something since we're talking. How many of you would like an opportunity, instead of listening to me ask these people questions, you could grill them with questions for the entire hour, and they'd be sitting one-on-one answering your questions? Raise your hand if that'd be cool to you. A few, half of you? No, seriously, raise your hand if that'd be cool to you. It doesn't have to be, but if it is, I need to know. All right, well, join us next year. Some of our sessions will be called Ask the Expert Agent, and it will be kind of like this panel, but spread all around the room, and you go talk to whoever the hell you want to. They'll have a list of questions, and you can grow them with questions, and I'm not involved in the process whatsoever, so that's kind of the fun part. Yeah, you don't have to listen to me talk anymore. You get to ask them the questions straight up. That's only one of the renditions of what we're doing next year, but I figured I'd tease that one now. One more takeaway. I got to get one more because I got a book to give away. Someone else. Yep, right here. Love that. I got a nugget on that one, right? I wasn't supposed to be one of the nuggets, but it works out. Do you have something to share, Ken?
They were listening to you.
Right? Right. It was valuable that time, right? All right. Here's what I want to ask you guys, and I don't know if I had this on the sheet, so sorry if this stumps anybody. You don't have to answer it if it stumps you too much. If I dropped you off in a brand new market with a phone and a backpack, and you had to start from scratch, where would you start, and what would you do? And how would that answer change if you didn't have the money you have right now? I got to ask with both, because some of you would just buy Zillow, I'm sure.
Can't anymore.
I'm going to start with Ken, because I think he knows exactly how he would answer this question.
That's what I did 9 years ago. And so I actually did come and bought Zillow, and then 6 months up, but I was like, this is not working for me to pay this way. So I would say lead with revenue. So it's like play red light, green light with everything that you do. If you're not getting an ROI on what you're spending, stop doing it. And so for me, it was literally picking up the phone, doing open houses, the old school stuff, until I started making money to be able to invest back in my business.
So what I'm hearing is it needs to make ROI if you don't have any money.
Correct.
And then when you have money, you can start to do marketing, positioning, branding plays.
That's right.
Love it. Brian, were you going to add something? Because you grabbed the mic first.
If I was at a new market and I had no money, I think the biggest thing is just get out there and just build relationships. I mean, it's that simple. Talk to as many people as possible, build as many relationships as possible, talk to other agents. And I think that's, going to help you kind of get to that next step. But, if I had no money, that'd be
Where
tough.
would you show up? Yeah, if you were homeless, who would you talk? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right? What market?
Where would you go? Where would you talk to people, though? Like where? What would you do?
Oh, jeez. Anywhere I could.
So open houses, I'm assuming, door knocking.
Yeah, that's the normal, right? Open houses, cold calling, door knocking prior to your open houses. That's something that I've always had success with my first few years, trying to generate listings when I was a new agent. I'd go to 20, 30 houses before an open house and just introduce myself to people, and just say hi and let them come, tour the house that they drive by every single day and build connections and have conversation. I'm out at a restaurant handing my business cards out. I made it a point to, hand out 500 business cards every single month. I wanted people to have my name in front of them.
You're not talking about like walking a hand to everyone, though.
Yeah,
You're talking about
you go to a restaurant and how often do we talk real estate? You use it as a write-off. Do that. You go to the dry cleaner, hand off your business card. You go to your kid's baseball game. Give your business card out. I just sold a house to one of the players for the Toronto Blue Jays about a year ago because I just started having conversation. He's like, I'm looking for a house. So you have conversations. Everybody loves real estate. Everybody owns a home, or they're renting and looking to own a home. So just have conversations.
Love it. Barrett?
If you drop me off in the middle of a new city with a backpack and a phone, I would do two things. I would do a geographic farm, because it is about getting into relationships with people consistently over time, and you don't have to spend any money on that. It's door knocking. You can print flyers to do that. And I would do what Ken did, because social media, no matter what avenue it is or what specific space it is, for the most part, it's free. He did the first 2 years on a cell phone, and you can do that. And you can become the main point of contact, and whether it's for a geography as small as a neighborhood farm or as large as a major metro, you can do that for basically no money. So that's what I do.
Love it. Dominic or Corey?
Ooh, boy, that's a tough one. I would probably do a lot of the same things I did the first time with a few changes. One of the things I did was I've got some state designations for senior real estate specialist and a few others. And I would go and I would start meeting with the senior facilities, right? And I would find out who's transitioning in, who's the big player in town, who's doing the Medicare and Medicaid transitions. I would start partnering with some of the professionals. I'd go meet with some of the attorneys in town who are doing the divorces. I would literally start growing a professional network to try and get the phone to ring on the avenues and the areas to where someone's forced to be relocated or moved or whatever it may be. And I would really probably start that route with it. And then in addition to that, I would try to find all of the free networking events. Like Chelsea was at one last night, free event over at Bar Louie last night for business meetings and networks. Costs no money. You go there, you shake hands with about 100 people, get your business cards out, tell them why you're so different from everybody else in the market you came from. And actually start, adding those people into your CRMs, make sure you're tagging them, make sure you're putting your follow-up system in there as far as calling them in 30 days, 3 months, 6 months, doing your check-ins, asking for referrals regularly. And that's in addition to a lot of the other things, because these are all things that worked.
Notice all these people have an actual system like that they stick people into. It's not just like they randomly call once in a while. They have an exact follow-up in buckets and.
Yeah, like I've even got we're going to a healthcare industry ball, in December, right? So there's so many different things. You just got to figure out what your niche is. What is your why? What ignites you, right? So what is it that you're going to get up and do every single day that you're going to continue to do and not get burnt out in 2 weeks and be like, you know what, this just isn't for me anymore. Maybe real estate's not it. And then in the process of that, don't forget to disconnect in order to reconnect. Right? Because if you just hit it hard 7 days a week, listen, I did 7 days a week, 20 hours a day for years. But if you just do that, it's easy to get burnt out, and you're not going to, be as engaged and, have that energy. No matter what, you got to fake it. Everybody wants to feel the energy, feel the everything. So go talk to as many people as you can, find a bunch of free networking events, knock on doors, but just have that energy when you do it and be the happiest person they've ever seen.
So what I heard was double down on niches. And for those of you that were looking for a way to utilize AI, I would ask AI what the top niches for people that are relocating to help get leads. Like I would ask AI to come up with the groups to do that, at least the brainstorming. That's where a lot of people don't use it. They use it to write. They use it to do things. Why don't you just bounce ideas off of it? You're way better. And the ideas are, by the way, it's always going to tell you your idea is good. So don't ever ask it for your feedback. It's going to say that's a great idea, but I'm talking like, hey, give me 20 more ideas that are like this one. Give me 20 more niches. Give me 10 more groups. Give me 10 other neighborhoods. Give me 5 other venues we could host Masterclass. Like things like that are really good questions to use it for and save you time.
And then also keep in mind, when you meet that one attorney, you're going to want to ask that attorney, who do they network with? Because most attorneys have somebody that they refer to as well if there's certain things they can't do. So you're going to want to ask for, hey, do you have 2 or 3 people I could also be introduced to, or maybe stop in and introduce myself to? So don't forget, you're not just asking for referrals from the customers that you're selling houses to. Also, your referral business, you want referrals from your referral business to try to find some other avenues.
Love it. Corey?
You want to? Go for it.
Yeah, let's double mic this thing. 2 mics, 1 dude.
Well, the first thing I'm going to do.
I'm sorry. Hey, someone said how to keep you guys on your toes.
The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find the first 100 people that I can talk to, and I'm going to ask them if they know Ken Posick.
And then you're going to say, Ken sent me to talk to you.
Yeah. Exactly. You know, I think we make this thing way harder than it is, right? The reality of the situation is my richest friend tells me all the time, stop asking for advice for people that's got less than you. So don't try to recreate the wheel. Go knock on somebody's door who's doing it better than you and ask them. Most of the people I know, all these guys, with the exception of Ken Posick, has helped me.
Man.
No, but me and Brian Heiser didn't know each other from a fly on the wall. We've had interactions and talked about business things. And Dominique Florio, I met Dominique Florio probably 4 years ago at a Zillow conference, and we've been buddies ever since. And we bounce stuff off each other all the time and constantly try to get better together. And most of the people I find, if they find that you're hungry and you want to work, they will help you. They will try to offer you things. I think everybody's out here trying to figure this thing out, and it's just easier to walk and find somebody who's doing it well and ask them.
You know, there's also one more thing, if I could jump into that, is, you know, when you're looking to try to figure out where to start, ChatGPT has a professional dashboard, and you could actually go into ChatGPT and you can create an advisory board from anybody you want. So you can actually create profiles, and you can actually create reports and everything from Elon Musk or whoever it is that you guys think are like major contributors. And you can create 3 or 4 different advisory boards, and you can actually go back into ChatGPT on the professional end of it and ask your advisory board, hey, I'm starting here, this is what I'm doing. What do you think I should start my business, or how should I make decisions here, kind of do that? So utilizing the professional dashboard on ChatGPT also with advisory boards will give you specifics on what somebody at a significantly higher level than any of us could, you know, kind of guide you.
Yeah, it's actually crazy that if you like ask it for marketing, it's marketing advice on this, it'll give you one answer. But if you're like, give me the marketing advice as if you were Dan Kennedy, it'll give you way better answer than it would have. It's like, man, that's crazy.
Another hack that's going on right now is like there's more teams and big teams and growing teams than ever before. And so if you were going into a new market, looking at, what would you guys think about joining a team if you were moving to Austin? I mean, like they're look and see who's doing the most amount of business, who you gel with, that has the most amount of opportunity. That's also a hack.
Love that. How many of you guys learned something today? Make some noise. Let's give a giant round of applause for the panelists. Also, I want to make sure I give a shout out to Shay Walker with Shay Walker Photography, Artesian Title, Florida Home Photo. Mosin's taking care of a baby. I know Heather Hurry was at the front, so I don't know if she got a chance to speak or not, but I know she's here, so I'm going to give her a shout out. Assured Partners. We've obviously got the other ones around the room, so I'm not skipping you. I'm just naming the people that didn't actually speak. Hatfield Productions, Harding Bell International, and we've got Marlise with Orlando Estate Sale Ladies in the corner. Make sure you visit her, especially if you're targeting seniors, because you need her to do estate sales. So let's give a giant round of applause to all the panelists and all the sponsors. Thank you all for coming out, and hopefully we'll see you at something next year. Catch you guys later. Oh,